to Roots and Roofs, where we explore the intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship in the real estate world. I am your host, Mackenzie Shelton. Join us as we dive into the unique journey of balancing family life with owning a thriving real estate business. Each episode, we will uncover inspiring stories, practical tips, mindset conversations, and expert insights from others who are carving their paths in the real estate industry. Whether you are a seasoned realtor, a prospective buyer, or simply curious about the dynamics of managing both home and career, Roots and Roofs is your go-to podcast for heartfelt discussions and invaluable advice. Tune in and discover how these incredible women are building deep roots from the ground up while nurturing their families under the same roof. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to...
All right. Thanks.
Oh, where's my record button? There we go. To Roots and Roofs. I have a super wonderful guest with me today. This is Barbara Dopp, and we are going to just be talking about all things real estate and how her career has progressed and all of the great wisdom that you have as a leader in the industry. So why don't you just take a couple of minutes and introduce yourself?
Well, as you said, my name is Barbara Dopp, and I'm in Boise, Idaho. And I've lived here since 1991. And we came here to raise our kids here. I have been a stay-at-home mom. I graduated from high school and married my high school sweetheart 6 months later. And so we're going on 48 years, I think. 48 years of being married. So that's been awesome. My husband had a 20-year career in education, and I started my career in real estate just before I turned 50. So I'm I don't know, 18 or 19 years. I started in 2007 in real estate. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe that someone made this career for me. It's been a phenomenal match and really enjoyable. I've got 3 children that are grown and 5 grandchildren. And so that's a big part of the joy in my life these days, is to spend time with them. So thanks for having me.
That is wonderful. I love that. So you were a stay-at-home mom until
Yes,
your kids were grown.
100%. Now, when my oldest child was 2, I did something called, I sold in-home presentations for a product called Bright Music. And that was music for kids that build character strengths and self-esteem. So I did that for 15 years, but it was small, something that I could do. It taught me a good foundation in sales skills. I was also raised on a farm in Montana that had some retail sales to it. And my dad, I don't know why, but as a high school student, he put me out there in the sales office and selling trees and rose bushes and things like that.
Oh
so
my gosh.
I had that natural training, I guess, when I was a child. And then when I did that Bright Music, I had some sales training there, just learning some sales methods. And that was a great foundation. But I knew when I sold that product, there was something inside of me that said, this is a preparation for something else. I wasn't going to be doing that forever. And I loved being a stay-at-home mom. It was my desire. It took us 7 years to have kids when we were young married people. And I just didn't want to miss any of that time. So my husband's salary wasn't a lot. And that's what eventually got me into real estate, was looking to say, gosh, we need to have a more financial opportunity here.
Yeah. Wow. I love that so much. I come across women all the time, obviously in this industry, that, were stay-at-home moms for several years. I personally was also a stay-at-home. Kind of like you, I kind of had like a part-time thing, sort of thing, but I was mostly at home with my kids, and I really, really enjoyed that. I should say when my big kids were little. And then, you know, I ended up having a very successful career and ended up having 2 more kids during that time. But the most wonderful thing, in my opinion, about this career, from that side of things, has been all of the flexibility that it provides, because I really have not had to put my kids in, full-time daycare or, be away from them for, the entire day all of the time. And I've been able to breastfeed 2 babies, the whole time. So it's,
I
yeah.
have such admiration for you. I don't know that I could have done that. Less do people think that it's glamorous or whatever in whatever we try to do as a working mom. I remember in those first years with Bright Music, we lived in a small house, right? 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and one living space. And the master bedroom had a closet with a door on it. And so I could be behind two doors when my kids were little, right? Because you needed to make some phone calls to get something
Yeah.
done. And that gave you a barrier before they got to you and made noise. I didn't always lock them out. But there were times when you just had to get something done because it's just it. My heart and my greatest respect goes to moms that are, you know, taking care of the kids and doing the business.
Yeah.
With that,
Yeah.
there's goods and bads of that, right? If you have a job and you're going somewhere 9 to 5, you figure out the system.
Oh, yeah.
In real estate or in sales, like you said, we didn't need a full-time person, but that meant every day you had to solve, the issue first of, taking care of your children in your home and all of that. It's a balancing act. So
Yeah.
good.
I think it always is, like, no matter what phase of life you're in.
Sure, sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Agreed. Yes, to kind of speak to that, I actually used to my husband usually got off work at about 3:30 because he was a commercial plumber for many years. And
Uh-huh.
so early on in my career, I would literally wait right until he got home and then I'd be like, okay, just give me an hour. I'm gonna lead Jen upstairs in our bedroom, like you take the kids. And he would, and I mean, he was great about doing that stuff. But that again, that's the beauty of real estate, right? Like I've always
Right,
taught my team members that, like, while it is great to get your lead gen done in the morning, if that's not works for your life and where your life is at right now, like you have flexibility for those things. And here's what it looked
right,
like for me when I was trying to get my career off the ground. So,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely. I
for
love that.
sure.
I love that. Okay, so I know you kind of talked about being in the business for almost 20 years. Like, what's kind of kept you passionate about it for so long?
I don't know where it came from, but I have a growth mindset. It wasn't that, I mean, I was raised by a school teacher who used all of his words at school. It wasn't like, we sit around and, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I didn't even think about that. But I've always had something inside of me that wanted to learn how to do things. When I did Bright Music, my mindset was, okay, I think I would like to do this. It was in-home sales, and they gave you a sales box. And I'm a super compliant, super obedient person. So I just find a leader and then I follow the leader. So if they say everything you need to know to get your business started is in this box, I'm going to do the box. If I'm successful, great. If I'm not, you probably didn't put something in the box that needed to be put in the box. I don't have any shame about that. I really have protected my mindset over the years. So, yeah, I can't remember exactly where I was supposed to go with that, but that's my short answer. What was the full
Yeah.
question?
Just how did you stay
Oh,
passionate? Yeah.
the growth mindset. So, the different process that you go through just starting. And when I started in real estate, I didn't know real estate compared to anything. I'm just talk to people and this is your product is a house. The learning curve was super steep. I felt like it was fire hose in the face all the time, at least for the first 5 years. And then I don't know, I've always surrounded myself with people that were doing things at a higher level than me. I'm fortunate. And I guess I sought that out. When I first started my career, I just went to a brokerage where my neighbor said, this is where I go. And I remember in the beginning, my husband saying, I don't know about this. You're going to have to be gone like, evenings and weekends and have people in your car all the time. So I asked my friend, who was the only person I knew that was a realtor, and she said, no, no, you don't have to do that. No, I did never ask her how many homes she sold. She sold 12 a year, right? And my first year I sold 24. And then it was short sale time. And then the next year was 54. And my husband was always saying, like, you lied to me. Like, this takes a lot more than you thought it was going to take. But it
Yeah.
was just, awesome and fantastic. After I stayed in her brokerage for a year, and then I realized that there weren't people around me that were able to lead me on to the next thing because I'm always
Sure.
curious, right? And I'm not a solve it yourself kind of person. I want to find systems and models and follow the leader, like I said. And then in 2009, so I'd been in real estate less than 18 months, and I came to Keller Williams. At the
Okay.
end of, I mean, we had all of 2008. I was at a one brokerage. They went out of business at the end of 2008.
Oh
A lot of
boy.
people shut their doors. Real estate agents got out. It was a very difficult time. And he merged us with another very small team, but no one worked from the office. I had all of this business. And so I was looking always for that person in front of me. And when I came to Keller Williams, our market center had a lot of successful agents at it. So I had modeling around me. And I think that, along with getting a coach, made a big difference to keep that growth mindset going.
Yeah. So let's talk about having a coach because I have had a coach for several years and I I think if you are looking to go far in this career, you have to have a coach.
I
I
I
don't know
agree.
anybody who's like really high level that does not. So
Yeah.
what kind of like how has that benefited you?
So when I didn't know the concept of having a coach in my first 18 months, like it wasn't presented to me. I didn't know it was a thing. I had my broker who was experienced 35 years and was super helpful as a trainer, I think. And that was helpful. And then they had a system. I used the Buffini method from the beginning, which was building relationships and working by referral. So that was super helpful as a foundation. And when I got to Keller Williams and I got there in April, and so I don't know, soon, maybe it was in the fall, I went to an event and they were talking about having a coach. So when I decided to get a coach, they assigned me someone, right? I went into a coaching group and they said, here's a coach. That coach calls me to have a first interview, which you want to make sure that that coach is a good fit for you.
Hmm.
And this coach was just very much about the numbers and holding you accountable. That for me, that I'm like, if it said to talk to 10 people, I'm going to talk to 10 people. That's not my challenge. My challenge was growing and figuring out how to build a business because I didn't know in the beginning that I was building a business. I thought I was a salesperson.
Hmm.
And so then they gave me a different coach, and he was very much a business coach. So he taught me to run a P&L. He talked to other high level teams that were having a level of growth. So I had confidence that he was seeing what they were doing, and he would kind of like you have an intel officer, bringing back to you like, here's what you need. And he was kind to me and helped me grow. Um, in the steps I needed to grow in. And I've had him for a coach for probably 7 years or something. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I've had the first type of coach that you talked about, which
Uh-huh.
it did get me to a good point,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of times those type of coaches are fairly limited. Um, and the coach that I've had for like 3 years now has been much more of like coaching to you as the whole person.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you can really go super far with wherever you're trying to go in life, right?
Yeah.
Like it
Right.
doesn't always have to be business related things, right? It can be personal, it can be some of those other things. And like
Because
I've
some
now
of those things
tried.
are the things that keep you from your success anyway. Right.
Exactly. Yes. So that's what I've tried to do with a lot of my team members is like model that type of coaching, right? Like we're not just talking about how many, contacts did you make last week? All of that is important. Like
Yes.
we don't have a business without those things.
Mhm.
And if you have major life events going on, like we need to talk those through too, because
Yeah, for sure.
otherwise you're not going to get to the other side. It doesn't matter how many contacts you make if your mindset's not right. So, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay, so since you have been in a couple different types of markets,
Uh-huh.
You've seen real estate markets kind of shift and change. What have been the biggest challenges that you've had to adapt to, and how have you stayed successful in those shifting markets?
So, I mean, for good or bad, my first day in business was October 1st. Oh my gosh, that's today.
It
October
is
1st,
today.
2007. And I live in Idaho. So the downturn of the market was just hitting us. But I didn't know. I didn't know anything compared to anything. They said, talk to people. I talked to people, kept my head down and did my thing and worked by relationship and by referral. Within, I don't know if it was within the first year, but very soon I coined the phrase that says, no one knows the future. You may as well be optimistic because
I love
it's
that.
just a default way of thinking. Because my observation was, especially probably, by the end of 2008, no, I don't know. One of my first transactions that I did was a short sale within 2008. And I don't know, somebody needed help for that. And so I just like, okay, what do? You call the bank. Okay, call the bank. That was back in the day when if you listed a property, say it was, say they owed 300,000 on their loan, because that was a high-end home back in the day in
Oh yeah,
Boise.
yeah.
Okay, so say they owed $300,000 on their home, and you were going to list the property for 250,000. Real estate agents with a lot more experience than me called me and said, like, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, the, it's going to be a short sale. So right at the beginning of my career, within 6 months, I was into that short sale market, and I knew that optimism was important. My focus in business has always been focused on the client and the relationship and taking care of them. So how do I help them? Whatever the crisis, I mean, I tell my team now, no one came to the closing table and got money, like for years.
Yeah.
And so that mindset, and then it grew a little at a time because I was in a brokerage that had regular trainings. And so they would say, well, I think looking at the economics of things, maybe we'll be out of this market by the next quarter, by the next quarter, by the next quarter. So always keeping that growth mindedness and that optimism in front of me. That experience that I had, and those 5 years from 2008 through 2012, I grew my business from 0 to 225 closed in 2012, which was the whole down market where people went
Wow.
out of business, the brokerages went out of business. So that taught me, right, that you may as well be optimistic, that people needed your help. It had to be done different. And the people that quit were people who didn't build their businesses on the foundation of prospecting, talking to people. And I've always kept that foundation. So it's equally challenging when you've got such a hot market, which we had, and your agents, or you're having to make 15 or 17 offers for someone in order to win, because
Hmm.
and then the prices went up. And now the last 4 years, with the interest rates being high, and all of that. But I
Yeah.
mean, in Boise, our normal market might have 3,000 homes on the market. When it was growing, we had 99 homes on the market in the county. In the short sale days, had 75 homes on the market in my neighborhood. So a lot of shifts, but all of them, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter. You just have to just talk to people and find out, do I need to talk to more people or less people to hit my goal? And
I
why would
love
you?
that. Yes, making it just
And
very,
foundation.
yeah, very simple, very basic. How many people do I need to talk to? Yep.
Yeah.
We have, I think this saying, I heard it from someone and I feel like it relates back to Diana Kokoska, which is how you and I know each other.
Yeah.
Um, but the kind of statement that we use for our team is impact over income, right? So
Correct.
we are always focusing on the client and how we can help them in whatever challenges they have, or how do we get them to their goal. And then
Mhm.
ultimately, by helping them get to their goal, we get to ours,
That's right.
right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Zig Ziglar, right? You'll always have it. You can always get it what you want if you help enough other people get what they want. And that when you're leading a team or, as an individual agent, you just have to, there's people out there that need something. We just have to
Yeah.
ask questions.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, we're kind of shifting. So we're in Nebraska and Iowa, and we have not felt what a lot of the rest of the country has felt really for the last 3, 4 years. Our market has stayed really mostly in a seller's market. Nebraska,
Yeah.
like our areas in Nebraska are just now this year getting into more of a balanced market. Um,
Well,
Iowa is usually about 6 months behind whatever is going on in Nebraska. So they're now kind of starting to shift that way a little bit. But it's been very interesting to see, like you mentioned, people having to bring money to the table.
yeah,
We have a lot of people who bought just in the last 2 years, and meeting with those people, having very, very different conversations, and having
yeah,
to teach the agents on my team those kind of different conversations that they need to be having with people, because so many people have expected to be able to make a lot of money.
yeah,
And if they are still living in 2021, that's their expectation, right? So, yeah,
yeah. That's been a challenge for this
yeah,
market for sure. But it's just
agreed.
learning how to address that in a conversation and
Yeah,
helping walk people through it. And not
yeah.
everybody gets it or can sell if the market's done what it's done, which is ours is just kind of flat.
Yeah, so that's what's interesting is like we're now again, because we're caring more about the person and their goals rather than us just getting a sale, is we have sometimes gone on listing appointments this year. Everyone on my team has done this and said, oh, this might not be the right time for you to move, you
That's
know?
right. That's right.
And that's and for some people they don't really have a choice, right? But
Yeah,
if they're in a situation where they don't have to, it's like let's just hold off for a couple more years and maybe things will look a little better for you. So,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, for
absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's kind of shift gears here and talk a little bit about your team. So I know you've had a team for a while. I'm not quite sure how many years, but within the last few years, it sounds like you joined Place, which is run by Ben Kinney and Chris Suarez. Like, kind of explain, the transition from running a team by yourself to that, and what have been the benefits and all that great stuff.
So in starting in real estate, again, I didn't have anything to compare anything to. So I didn't know if closing 24 homes your first year was what everybody did or what nobody did, and double it the next year. And when I honestly came to Keller Williams, it was, I mean, in that year, so that would be the beginning of 2009. And in 2009 was when I closed 54 homes that year. Mind you, a lot of what was in my pipeline were short sales though. So the number of transactions that I was managing, and I had an assistant that my brokerage in 2009, the beginning of 2009, he said, I'm going crazy because I'm not so much the paper person. I can do it, but I make messes and then clean them up and make messes and clean them up. So he just brought in, he said, well, here's two people I've used before. And he brought two people before me and said, which one would you like to hire? Like that was my hiring process. And I said, well, I picked that one because she's been a paralegal and maybe she'll keep me out of trouble. Right. I didn't know anything. And she cried almost every day that she
Oh,
worked for me because like I was going at a fast pace. And and then they helped me to understand how to grow. So and leverage correctly. So starting in 2010, probably, well, 2010, I was able to hire the end of 2009 an executive assistant through the Keller Williams hiring model that was with me for over 10 years until she retired. She was phenomenal to help me set up systems, keep me stable and all of that. In those years, then we started with having buyer's agents. So my team was specialized to listing side, buyer side. So I would leverage out on the buy side, and then I would take all of the listings. And back in the day, on my team, the way I ran it, I didn't pay any splits. Like the buyer's agent, if she had a listing, she just gave it to me. Like I didn't pay
Hmm.
her, even though it was from her sphere. I can't believe that. Whatever. It worked for her.
It was a model then, right?
It was
Like
a model. Yeah.
yeah, it worked for that time period. I know it worked for so many agents, and there is
Yeah.
a reason that it was very successful for a long time. We're
Yes.
in 2025 now, so maybe not so
And
much.
it's just
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
So she then grew and had a bunch of showing agents under her and had great success. And so, like I said, we went in by 2012, we had grown that to that 225. For the next 7 years, my business was at 200 to 210. 3 years in a row, I hit exactly 210. I'm like, that's a little odd to hit the exact number. And I realized it's probably because I have a system that will support 210. So I started looking at other teams in my market center that were breaking 300 or whatever. And so I was just curious about it. Not that I had to do it that way or not do that way, but I'm always growth minded and say, why is yours growing? So I met with one of the teams and we talked about his systems, and gosh, he was so systematized for his team. And I was probably a little more entrepreneurial at the time. And Dina had good systems. My EA had good systems for me, but my way of thinking probably was not as systematized. And we grew kind of organically. So in that year, which was 2019, early in 2019 is when I met with this other person. And before long, he's saying, well, why don't you just join my team? Because he had a big team. And he said, I will keep 20% and you can keep 80% of your everything your team does, and I'll pay all the expenses. And I went, I don't think that's a good business model because I did know my P&L well. I knew how much my expenses were and all of that. And I said,
Yeah.
and so I didn't say it out loud to him. I appreciated the offer. And I said, let me think about it. And I thought, the thing that I came away from there is, would I join a team? Would I do leverage? And my word for the year was accelerate.
I like
Because,
that.
mind you, I started when I was almost 50, and I'm not intending to work forever. Like, I'm intending to build a business. And
Yeah.
so I had met at a Diana Kokoska training, coaching skills camp. I met Katie Benson. And I had known of Chris Suarez because with Keller Williams, he spoke from, the stand a lot of times. And Ben Kinney was there with him. I had a lot of respect for Chris personally. And so I remember one time I talked to him and said, you've got these expansion teams and, how profitable are you? Because I had heard other people that had big teams and they said, I'm 6% profitable. I'm like, ew. And they said, well, it's 6% of a really big number. And I'm like, I know, but if it goes backwards, you're 6% of the other direction of a really big number. So I don't, and Chris, his answer to me was, 30%. I run the model. And I'm like, okay. So I have a lot of detail in my personality, a lot of C from the disc profile. And so I liked that, his certainty in a leader and a business owner. And so I just called Katie. And I said, Katie, does Chris have a way that I could be part of what Chris does, but still be me? And she
Mm.
said, actually, we do. So at that time, I was Agents with a Smile powered by experience, which was his. And so we
Oh,
used his, model. That was in April of 2019. And then in February of 2020, Ben and Chris joined and built a business platform. That business platform came together with, I think there were 24 or 29 teams at the time that came together. And so we had the way Ben had run, because Ben was the number one expansion team in all of Keller Williams, and Chris was the number three. So those two came together and had a vision that said, we want to change the way that we do real estate. They want to become the Amazon of real estate, taking care of the homeowner from, everything that has to do with real estate. And so I was just blessed to be folded into that. Now, part of it now gives me the perspective because I have people on my team and I'm on a team, right? And at that time, I was doing 60 million in volume, 210 closings, and I was running a pretty good P&L at that time for the millionaire real estate agent model. So my win in all of that, though, as I partnered with Ben and Chris, is that P&L, my expenses have gone down to about 16%. And there's been a ton of benefits in that, which, I can share too. But
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I obviously, this is one of the reasons that I love bringing people on my podcast because I feel like I learn so much just about like their experience and everything that they've done, just being able to ask questions like that. And I just think that's so neat that you were able to kind of fold into, everything that they're doing.
here's the
And
thing that made that decision so easy for me, because sometimes people would say, and, people joining your team get asked the question as well. So for me, I was growing the team, and I have a responsibility as a team leader to grow my people and all of these things. And when I talked to Chris, or now I'm with Ben, and I'm going like, the splits to my team members are exactly the same. They're not different.
Sure.
And the value that I get to bring to them is way bigger. And I just was at that point in my business that said, if I have to go backwards a little bit financially in the beginning to go forward, I am totally okay to do that because it was all for my team in the first place.
Yeah.
Can they get health insurance? Can they get a higher level of coaching and training and leading where they get access to Chris Suarez and Ben Kinney every single week? What I would pay a lot of money to go and get. So
yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So that does kind of lead me to a question then. Um since since you did kind of like, join with them and stuff, like what systems have you had to like shift or change in order to kind of be a part of their world, or was it seamless?
sorry, I've got a
It's
cold.
okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, just a second. So shifting wasn't that big of a deal. Just 1 second.
It's okay.
I'm gonna just mute myself 1 second.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, with technology, you have a way to fix that.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
So in looking at the things that I had to shift and change was, sorry, am I willing to be part of a team? And I just made the decision at the beginning that yes, I was. And so for me, when I do things, I go all in. And so I don't overthink it. If this is the system and the process, then I'm just going to live that and do that. And
Sure.
I've been blessed beyond measure. The biggest thing is to be able to, I guess a part of my desire to partner in the beginning also was, what would my exit strategy be? Because as a team owner, and knowing that I guess there's only a couple of choices if you're running a business and you have success at it, or even if you don't. The way that you end that is you just stop talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
Our agents do it all the time. They get themselves out of the business by just not making their calls. So if you grow your business, you can come to a point where you're overwhelmed And what are you supposed to do? How do you know what you're supposed to do? So having a business partner that was Chris and then Ben that had been so far ahead of me in their business development and their business process and the people that they talked to and the ideas that they brought to me allowed me, like when COVID came, we started Place in February of 2020. Well, March, COVID was here. I wasn't alone as a leader. We
Hmm.
collaborated, with 30 or 40 teams across the country to say, here's how we've shifted, here's how we've pivoted. And that collaboration from then until now has been dramatic for me as a business leader. My stress level as a business owner and as an agent doing my business was probably a 9 to a 10. I mean, you
Yeah.
remember, you have days that you go like, my face doesn't even work anymore. I'm so tired, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And
100%.
now, honestly, my stress is a 1 to a 2.
Wow, that
And
is
and
amazing.
building my team and knowing that I have a business partner in Ben and Chris, and they've brought on other strong leaders as I'm in a relationship with them, I bring my team along in that process of growth.
Sure.
So on the day that I'm not here, Ben and Chris are still there because they're 20 years, 25 years younger than I am. And my leaders partner with them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's been a huge benefit to my team. And the key is different now. It's not like, oh, everyone pay attention to me.
Yes. Yes. Understood.
It's,
Absolutely.
grow as a company.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, um, if you don't mind sharing, if you don't want to, that's totally okay. But if you don't mind sharing, like, what did what did your numbers look like prior to joining Place, and what do they look like today? I mean, you can either share GCI or volume or, whatever it is. Because I think that'll help give people kind of a picture of like how impactful I think this has been for you.
There are two parts to that question, I think. And when we bring people on our team, we're going to help them make money, but we're also helping them live a life. Okay. When I started with Place, I was 60 million in volume, 1.6 in GCI, and I was probably 30% profitable.
Okay.
Probably. I was running the model.
Mm-hmm.
When I grew my real estate business, I grew it to grow my retirement. I didn't need it to pay the bills. Well, at the beginning I did,
Yeah.
but along the way, it's my husband was working at the time. He retired back in 2012. And so yeah, I've listened to the mentors in my life over the years, and I've built buckets of streams of income. So our peak year, of course, was in 2021. In Boise, our price point has risen, so that's been beneficial to us in our profitability. So I think my peak was 4.1 million. I started at
Okay.
1.6, 4.1. This year will probably end at about. We're just getting back because the last 2 years were hard, and being with a partner doesn't necessarily always mean you're going to do more. You might have more, you might become more. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
And
That's a very good point.
my
Yeah,
potential of an exit strategy, my level of confidence that that will happen gracefully and in a positive way and a huge impact for my people, I'm at a 9 on confidence that that will happen. So
sure.
for me, the horizon and the timeline, that's a big deal. I still run 30. Our goal next year is 33% profitability because my expenses have gone way down. And at Place, it's a 50-50 profit, 50-50 expense.
Sure.
So I don't carry that burden either, and you've got mentors around you that are saying, okay, here's the next step for you to be able to grow. So I think
Right.
there's a balance of that depending on what the person is looking for. But definitely for me, the stress level and the income. And then just learning, like, okay, when I exit, how do I set that up? Well, I have access to a Fortune 500 CEO, CFO, attorneys, all of that are going to help me execute that plan. And it still takes time because
Oh yeah.
you still have to grow your people. But the weight of growing the people is not all on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I love that. I love that. That is wonderful. Okay, so I think we have time for like one more question here. This has been such a wonderful conversation for me personally. I'm sure all of my listeners feel the same way. So, for new agents entering today's market,
oh, can I tell you one more thing about place? Because I
yes,
just remembered the biggest
yes,
thing. Okay.
yes.
So for the win, sometimes I mean, you always have to look in any partnership or joining a team or anything, you have to look what's the fit for you, right? What's the opportunity and the cost? Always you have to look at that. Sometimes you might know and you just know in your heart, like it just feels like the right step to you. Okay. So in doing that, some of the things that have come about that I didn't know at the beginning, it was Chris. And Chris was an awesome leader. And then I was on this path and I got Ben too. And then they went out in 2021 for a Series A capital raise to be able to grow quickly.
Okay.
And in 2021, they got a $100 million investment from Goldman Sachs, giving them a $1 billion valuation. Okay, I'm a founding member of a $1 billion organization. I would never have done that on my own, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And now they own a mortgage company and they own a title company. And to become the Amazon of real estate, they're doing that. My agents and myself have stock option opportunities because we're a pre-IPO company intending to go public in 2027. In that, if my agent or myself, we can take 5 to 10% of our profits and invest in stock. If our company goes 10x, which they anticipated, well, my agents are here and they have a split and they just have a forced retirement. They get all the money. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I just like I couldn't have given that opportunity to them. I didn't know I was going to have that opportunity for myself, but the amount of millionaires and wealth that we're able to create because of partnership has blessed my life way more than I thought I was going to get when I started. So you want to pick, who your leader is, where they're going, and the character of that person. It's really important who you're in business with.
Yes.
Yeah,
For sure. For
yeah.
sure.
So that's just
I
been a side benefit, that I can give as a value add to my people, as well as getting health insurance benefits. I wouldn't have been able to do that for them, and then high
yeah.
level training. So it's been great.
That's amazing. I love that so much. Yeah, I that is one of the things of that I've had to personally learn as well over the years is like who you align yourself with is either going to benefit you in the long run or not, right? Like you're kind of talking about how you kind of hit a ceiling there for a while. Like
Mhm.
if you as a leader are not constantly looking for that next person, that next company, that next mentor, whatever it is to help you continue to grow for your people,
Sure.
you're naturally going to become stagnant, right?
It's your responsibility, right? As
Yes,
the leader,
I
you need to
agree.
cast the vision. It's like, I'm not that big of a visionary myself. I'm not the break the mold person, I'm
Yeah.
very much an implementer. And I mean, I have my own vision and drive, but to be surrounded by people, I mean, even this, to have that opportunity to have the conversation with you and the
Yes.
thing, this is how I do things, this is how I think, this is how I grow. I learned from every one of those experiences. And now I don't so much have personal coaching anymore in business. I put myself more in mentorship type
Hmm.
collaborative environments so that I can learn and continue to grow what's possible because I don't have to do the creation so much
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, that was the whole reason that I joined the inner circle with Diana and John was
So
because
great.
I literally had you want to talk about like God intervening and telling me exactly where I need to be. It was actually, I went to mega camp in, that would have been August 2024, I believe. And yeah, because it's 2025. Yeah, so it was like a year ago. And I had told my husband, I think shortly before I went on that trip, I said, I really just need to find that next like thing that is going to help me continue to help all of the people that are now on my team, right? Not that I felt entirely like we had hit a ceiling, but I felt like if I didn't do that, I wasn't going to keep growing. I was going to
If
hit a
you
ceiling.
don't grow, your company's not going to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And then literally I met with Diana for an hour at in Austin at Mega Camp, and she was like, "Hey, here's this opportunity." And I was like, "Holy cow, that's exactly what I've been saying that I need, you know?" And so yeah, little divine intervention there, and yeah, I'm excited for like the next year of this, and I are you gonna do it next year?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful.
Atlanta.
Yes.
Yes.
I wish I could go to Atlanta. I can't go, but yeah, my husband's had a hunting trip planned for a very
Oh,
long
that's
time.
right. That's right.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep. Got
So
to honor that.
yes, but yeah, the inner circle has been absolutely instrumental in everything that I have done for the last year.
And
So
so much of his mindset, right? Diana
yeah,
tells us 90, that she says 99 now, I think, but over
yeah.
90% of your success is mindset, which is a thing to continue to share with your team
Hmm.
because we say that there's these three levels, right? For our agents, they'll come on and they feel dependent on you. And then they
Yes.
grow to the level where they think, oh, I'm independent, like I've got this figured out because they think it's about sales. It's not about sales, it's about mindset. And the third level, I always said that the third level is interdependent or, intradependent. And
Yeah.
really, I think Brendan Burchard said it, that it's really, I can depend on you now, right? Right. They've depended on us. Now
Yes.
we can depend on them and you grow together.
Yes.
So that's been a big part of the way of thinking. So when agents are, you just have to tell them often, our
Yeah.
mindset is 98%. And you help them see that the people that have been on your team for 9 and 10 years now, oh, we still have mindset challenges from time to time, right? Oh, like all the
Yes.
time.
Yes. All
And
the
that's
all the
why I
time.
continue
Yeah.
to be on a team or to put myself in a growth situation
Yeah.
because you
Agreed.
never arrive,
No, no, never, never.
which is
And
good.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, so I actually had someone on my team for so she would have been on my team for 3 years, like from the inception for 3 years. And she actually decided to leave the team and go do things solo. And she actually just rejoined the team this year. And when she and I sat down and kind of talked about all of that, she said, I know I can do it on my own. I don't want to do it on my own anymore because of the mindset piece of it and having somebody to help hold you accountable. Like I tell my team members all the time that I mean, I have other people holding me accountable, like a coach and things like that. But the other part is like they hold me accountable, right? Like, so it is a lot of that intradependence that you were kind of talking
Sometimes,
about.
sometimes as a salesperson, you've had success. You feel like, oh, I feel like I'm ready to be a leader, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's a whole nother level of growth. You can on a team, for us, I mean, our model with Place is to grow a team within a team, but they
Yep.
can have leadership opportunity and fulfill that piece within them without the stress that comes from it, you
Yeah.
know? Because when
Yes.
you're the leader and it's all you, like there's nobody coming to save you, they can have those leadership opportunities in a collaborative environment, which is just a phenomenal experience for them.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, that's kind of the direction that I'm going with things is like, how do I continue to help them give them opportunities as they continue to grow into,
Right?
more of a
Yeah.
leadership management type role. Yep, absolutely. I love that. Okay, so one last question for you.
Okay.
For new agents entering today's market, what advice would you give them about building a career as fruitful as yours has been?
It is simple. It is not easy. All right, here's what you have to talk to people. My business foundation was 10 conversations a day, 5 handwritten notes, add 2 people to your database every day, every day, every day. Okay. So when you see people out there, I was trained in the Buffini method. There was a system, there was a plan, and I just followed it. The more quickly you can get comfortable. Now, I will tell you, 5 conversations a day will maintain your business.
Yes.
If it's at
Yes, I
zero,
that's where I'm at. Yep.
if it's at zero, you don't want to maintain your business.
No.
Okay. 10 conversations a day will grow your business with a small G. 20 conversations a day will grow your business with a capital G, and it can't be held from you. Like, I promise you, anyone that is willing to have the conversations now, you will evolve in your skill set as you talk to those many people. You also, you want to be around people that can help you and listen to that and say, I would change this here or that there. You can do that just in surrounding yourself with other real estate agents and asking some questions. It will take you 2.5 hours a day to talk to 10. It'll
Mhm.
take you 5 hours a day to talk to 20 people. You have 8 hours, like just a regular work day. Make yourself, hold yourself accountable to having the conversation and then tracking your business. I've tracked my business since day one. Yeah, I would agree with that. Day one, I've always tracked my business. I know every year since I started what my volume was, what my numbers were. And every year at this time of year, I love business planning. It's my favorite thing.
Me too. It's like
Yay!
Christmas for me.
That's right. It's like, and I always looked and I said, okay, what did I do last year? This is what I did last year. Who's in my pipeline? I think these people, if I, did what I'm supposed to do, I think I'll have this business. How many more do I need to add? That's my gap. And then I always would, there's only 7 dominoes in real estate: dials or attempts, conversations, um, appointment set, appointment held, a buyer rep or a listing signed, under contract, and closed. Those are the only 7 dominoes. You should track every one of them so
Yep.
you know the hinge points in your business. I just on Monday looked through all of my agents on my team. We have 20 agents now. I'm looking through everybody's numbers and they're wildly different. So different.
And you can literally tell how someone's business is going to be the next year based on exactly how their activities have been this year. Yeah.
So from that information, I'm able to go back to my agents now and say, you know what? I know you're not the agent with the very most production this year. You're your business is the cleanest of anyone. Your amount of dials that it takes for you to talk to somebody, to set an appointment, and to close, her conversion numbers are better than anyone. So confidence, like honestly, all you have to do is to talk to more people.
Yeah.
Period. Now others, they talk to a lot of people and they're not, it takes a lot of conversations for them to set an appointment. And others, they have set the appointment, they've taken the reps, they're not getting them closed. So
Mhm.
it is so eye-opening. No one's business is the same as anyone else because no one's mindset is the same as anyone else. But your biggest thing, you have to show up every day, be the best boss that there is in the world, and be the best employee. Like you've got to have accountability to show up every single day and to take care of people, right? It's
Yeah.
like there are people that need your help. You're looking for what's their pain point, what's their challenge, how can I help, right?
Mhm.
Not ego, just the
No.
gifts and the talents and the resources that I have. How can I help you?
Yep. I actually just had a conversation with an agent. Was that like a week or two ago? She's newer in the business and she was going on a for sale by owner appointment. And I knew she was going to be going like I think within like the next hour. And I said, I want you to just consistently say over and over again, these people will like me. I am there to help them. I am ready to help them. They are ready to have me help them. Like I was just drilling that into her because she was her mindset was she was so focused on the numbers and this person might be wanting too much money, for what she thought it could sell for. And I was like, nope, we're not worried about any of that. We are like, it is 100% mindset. And if you go in there with that thought, then the conversion will happen. So, yeah.
My words in that situation are just be warm,
Yeah.
curious, and authentic.
Yes.
Really,
Yes.
people need to know, do you care about me? This is Diana taught us, right? Do you
Yes.
care about me? Can you help me? And can I trust you?
Yeah.
So you can just be you. Now, you can be you, but you better have the professional. You need to know your numbers. You need to know the market, because if you just know those things because you're paying attention to it all the time, you can just lead with being warm, curious, and authentic, and you will have the professional information you need when the time is calls for it.
Yes, absolutely. Oh,
It's the
I
best profession in the world.
it really is. I thank you so much for this conversation. I just loved
It
it
was
so
my
much.
pleasure. You are amazing.
Thank you. So are you. And I am so excited that we get to be in the inner circle
Yes,
again.
yes.
And yeah, I'm very excited for my listeners to get to hear all of your wisdom and experience. So thank you very
Well,
much.
if you ever have any questions or you want to mastermind on something, you just let me know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening to Roots and Roofs podcast today. If you loved today's episode, please let me know. I love hearing from you on Instagram and Facebook, so feel free to send me a DM or tag me in your stories so I can share it too. If you're looking for more information about today's topic, please visit my website, mahoganyacres.com, and all of the information that is listed in the show notes below. Until next time.